and dedicated salespeople. You know, while there may or may not be shortages of water and oil on this planet, I don't know if there's a shortage. They tell me there is. 2/3 of the planet's covered in water. And I don't know how much oil there is. I don't have any on my property, so it just seems like we always keep coming up with oil. While there may or may not be shortages of water and oil, I assure you there are vast shortages of highly committed, highly dedicated, and great salespeople. This is good news for those of you who choose to become great. For those of you who become masters and professionals and great, the world waits with its fortunes. While there are hundreds of millions of people that call themselves salespeople, there are only a handful of greats. The difference between the mediocre and the great salespeople lies in being committed to the profession first. Couple that with a desire to be great and the dedication to learn the trade. Despite the popular belief that there are limits in sales, I assure you that the only limits a salesperson will face are those of his own imagination. The truth is, you can get paid whatever you want in this field with no ceiling. You can decide what products you'll sell, who you'll sell them to, and with whom you choose to work. The truly great salespeople stand out heads and shoulders above the rest and aren't even in the same profession as the masses of salespeople. They think different. They act different. They work different. To them, this thing called selling, this job, is effortless because they understand how to reach their goals and how to get their way. These people are paid immense fees compared to their peers. They make selling look easy. And others are certain that they do this because it's so easy for them because there's some gift they were born with. Well, nothing could be farther from the truth. See, I've never met someone that reached stellar levels of success who got there because of some luck or some God-given talent. I've just never met it. These people that become highly successful got there because they mastered the trade of selling. When the economy crashes, the greats, the professionals, the handful, they may experience small dips in production, but they will always survive, while the amateur loses their job. Great salespeople don't have ceilings on their earnings, and they know that their income depends solely on the ability to get in front of customers, make themselves known, get agreements, close a sale, and reproduce those results over and over again. Look, great salespeople aren't even stuck on one product. They can shift when markets change. Only a handful of people ever take the time to really learn this game, and only a handful of people ever truly master it. When I was 25 years old, I made the commitment to know, K-N-O-W, everything there was to know about the game of selling. I was finished with pumping myself up every morning with enthusiasm and hoping for great results. I was sick of the idea of I'll just do the law of attraction thing and wish for great things. Hey, it wasn't happening. I didn't know what I was doing, and I knew it. You know, enthusiasm is great, but it's not a replacement for knowing. Wishing, hoping, and praying, they're probably all great things, but it's not a replacement for knowing. The amateur golfer, he goes out and plays golf every Saturday with his boys, his posse. But look, can he play the game? No. But he has fun at it, and he's enthusiastic about it. Doesn't mean he can play with a master who truly knows, K-N-O-W, the game of golf. The person who knows what he's doing and every nuance of his career doesn't have to get enthusiastic. He is enthusiastic. See, when you know something, you can predict the outcome. If I know everything there is to know about something, I know what's going to happen as well. Therein lies true confidence and freedom. See, knowing means prediction. Prediction means confidence. And confidence means more sales. So we want to get you in a position where you not only know the business, but can predict the business. You'll have more confidence about whatever your business is and generate more sales. And more sales creates more confidence. and enthusiasm will be a natural state, not one you have to work up to. Chapter 4, the greats. Commitment. So how do you become one of the greats in your field, one of the masters? The first and most important step is to commit. Commit all the way. Commit means, from the dictionary, to devote oneself completely to something. See, this is a problem in America today for sure. I live here, so I'll talk about America. Americans don't commit all the way anymore because when they do, somebody's going to call them fanatics. Well, let me tell you something. You want great things in life? You want incredible things? You need to commit like a fanatic. Become unreasonable. Fanatical if you have to. I'm like that about my career, my future, and taking care of my family. I'm committed all in, and I don't care what you call or say or how you describe me. This inescapable truth is required for anybody or anyone to be truly great at anything they endeavor. You must devote yourself completely. If you're a career salesperson, then you will have to devote yourself, your energy, and your resources to a career in selling. If you aren't a career salesperson, you'd better get it to your core that your success, your every moment, possibility, endeavor, any chance you have of making it still depends on this thing called selling, and you better learn it. You have to convince yourself, commit, that this is the thing you have to learn in order to get your way in life, and that this thing is where you are going to make your riches or make your dreams come true or just basically prosper and do well in an incredible way. So how does a person actually commit? How do you commit? Man, how do I commit? What do I do? What do I have to do to commit? Well, what I do when I commit is I eliminate any and all options and devote myself to that thing and learning everything I can about that thing. I become a fanatic. I become 100% absorbed, all in, a super freak, if you will. I stop questioning. I stop asking other people for their opinion. I stop looking on the internet for what other people said or didn't say or might have said, or I quit doing research, dude, and I'm in all the way. Right or wrong, I'm in. I don't stick my toe in. I jump in the pool. And I stop questioning. I discontinue looking at other options. That is commitment. Committing is as simple as picking a place to park your car. Find a spot, pull in, get out. You don't keep looking for another space once you park. Commit and be done with it. Committing is when you make a firm decision, a complete 100% decision, and you stop wondering and then follow your commitment through with actions. Once you've fully committed to a partner in life, it's good advice to quit looking for new partners. You take what you have, commit, make everything you can out of it. Could you find someone prettier or smarter or happier? Probably. But hey, is that committing? What if they were doing the same thing with you? Could I find somebody prettier or happier or smarter? Hey, absolutely, to the listener. But look, that means as your partner, I'm not committing. Committing means you're in all the way. It means you're done looking. It means you've cut off any other possibilities for now. No more alternatives. No more shopping. And then I'll make that person that I'm with the prettiest, the smartest, and the happiest. I'd rather commit to the wrong thing all the way than commit to the right thing halfway. I'm going to say that one more time, okay? Live by this. I'd rather commit to the wrong thing all the way than commit to the right thing halfway. Greener pastures. This is for that person that's always looking for that greener pasture. The guy who thinks the grass is greener over there is the same guy who never committed to taking care of the pasture he already has. He winds up mediocre, average, and miserable, always looking for greener pastures. What was he even doing looking at another pasture in the first place? See, look, he already had his own green pasture that needed to be mowed, needed to be watered, needed to be weeded. Remember, hey, while there may be greener pastures, they're green because somebody committed to taking care of them. Weeds grow in every field, and if you don't commit to it all the way, you'll neglect it. And if you neglect it, you're going to get weeds, and then it'll go brown. And everything around you is going to look greener, because it is. Because you didn't commit to taking care of what you had. Is there better opportunities around you? Probably. Why? Because somebody's taking care of those opportunities. They're watering, they're feeding them, they're giving them sunlight and life. They're selling that opportunity, and it keeps getting bigger while yours is getting smaller. Why? Because there aren't any greener pastures that weren't taken care of by someone. See, when you neglect, you'll immediately start to dislike that thing which you neglect. And then you'll start peering over, looking at the neighbor's fence, thinking, wow, what he has is better. It's only better because he's committed. So commit. Commit all the way to your career. Commit to learning something that you can about selling. Commit to learning about your product. If you're an actor or an actress, your product is what? Right? Commit to learning how to get that into the marketplace. If you're a business owner and have products you sell, commit to getting that product into the marketplace. You have to commit to your product, your service, your employees, your expansion. You have to put a stake in the ground. Commit all the way. Do or die. Commit to learning everything you can and watch how much green your career will produce for you. See, whenever I commit myself to any line of action, I find myself getting immediate results. They're not delayed because I'm in all the way. If you commit and don't get immediate results, I would suggest that you haven't committed all the way. When I'm not committed, I find results are delayed or even non-existent. If I'm committed 100% to the customer in front of me, let's say I'm selling a product and there's a customer, I will get results with them. But when I'm with one customer and I'm thinking about another customer over here and thinking about another opportunity and I can't wait to get home tonight and I'm thinking about that and I want to be with the kids and we're going on vacation, see, I'm not with that person all the way and I'm going to get delayed results or maybe even non-existent results. I'm unable to make the best of what I have. Why? My commitment dropped out. Commit. You have to commit, and you have to commit all the way. When I give my seminars, I put on this small gold pin that I wear on my lapel, and it says 100%. A salesperson once asked me, hey, why do you wear that pin? I mean, do you wear it for the customers to see? Or, I mean, what's the deal with the pin? What's it mean? And I explained, look, yeah, you know, I like customers seeing the little pin, and it intrigues them. And they'll ask a question, you know, like, hey, what does that mean? But I don't wear it for them. I wear it for me. I wear it to remind myself to commit, to get in all the way. I don't get dressed for other people. I get dressed for me, so I feel good, so that I'm dressed professionally. I want to look good, obviously, but for me first, then them. And I put that pin on to remind me, hey, Grant, be 100%. You can't be 100% one day of the week or twice a week or 3 days, every day. Sometimes I go into the restroom and look at the pin and say, dude, you got to crank it up. You got to get committed and recommitted. See, commitment is a very, very personal thing and is the indisputable single requirement for getting results in life and separating yourself from the herds of others. Well, at the age of 25, I'd been in and out of sales for 5 or 6 or 7 years. And I realized that I was still, all those 5, 6, 7 years, looking for a real career. See, no commitment equals no results. No commitment equals no or little results. I hadn't made a commitment to sales yet, and I wasn't proud of my position. I didn't want to be a salesperson, didn't like the work I was doing, so I didn't get results. If I hadn't committed, how can I be getting results anyway? At the very best, I was average. And I was average because I wasn't committed. It wasn't because sales was right for me or wrong for me or I could handle it or not handle it. Look, the first rule, you have to commit. And because I wasn't committed, I wasn't getting results. You get it? No commitment equals no results or non-existence results or poor results or, hey, I'm not getting all the results of the horsepower I have. If I have 200 horsepower and I'm only using 10 of it because my commitment is only to put my foot barely on the accelerator, I'm only going to get 10 powers of horsepower out of or 10 miles an hour out of the 200 horsepower, and I got a car that can drive 180 miles an hour. Why? Because I won't commit to the accelerator. Because I wasn't getting results, I didn't like my job. And because I don't like my job, I reduce my commitment even further. And it becomes this vicious cycle. No commitment equals no results, means I don't like my job, which means I further less commit. I'm looking for greener pastures, and this vicious cycle of destruction. See, to the degree you aren't proud of your job, the job you're doing every day, you will not be successful. And to the degree you are successful, ultimately will determine how proud you are of your career. The career you're in is not the problem. Your commitment to that career, to learning everything about that career, to getting results in that career, that is the problem. So I want to read this one more time. To the degree you are not proud of your job, your position, your post, your career, whatever it is you're doing, you will not be successful. And to the degree you are successful will determine how proud you are of your career. See, your career is not the problem. Your commitment to your career is the problem. So I decided one day, after years of being average, mediocre, that sales was not my problem. The selling thing, I'm a salesman, that's not the problem. At that moment, I decided that the problem was the lack of commitment. If I was going to do this for one more day, why not be completely committed? And in that moment, and it took a moment, I devoted myself to learning everything there was to know about selling. My goal became, I will stand head and shoulders above everyone else in this field. Not just the people that surrounded me, but everyone in the field. And I will no longer be compared with others regarding selling. I decided at that moment to become a professional and to be different than the typical average, mediocre salesperson. See, that's the moment when everything changed for me. And it changed immediately, and it changed magically. Right away, my energy changed, my dress changed, my actions and my habits changed. My language even changed. And my results, they were immediate. Immediately, my pastures became green, my potential exploded, and results showed up. It was almost spiritual. In fact, it was spiritual. It was so dramatic. And that is the magic of commitment. If you want to be successful at anything, you have to commit. You've got to be in it 100% with no other fish to fry. The burn the ship kind of mentality is what it takes to get you to a place where you'll do the things that will ensure results. No place to swim back to. No place to go home. Hey, this is my last stand kind of commitment. To get into the game as though your life completely depends on it. Because the truth is, your life does depend on your commitment. The life that you've been dreaming of depends on you getting in all the way and doing it now. This is how I approach anything from which I want results. This is how I approached the career of selling at the age of 25. In that moment, my life changed. I'll never forget the first time I experienced the magic and power of commitment. And I know some of you are thinking, man, the guy's starting to talk about spiritual. I'm telling you, it was spiritual. Whatever that means to you, it was magic. It was one summer I was working on an offshore crew boat servicing oil rigs, and I was not a salesperson. I was a hand. I was labor by the hour, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. We were off the coast of Louisiana, and we used to sit around waiting for the rigs to call on us, and we were a supply boat. We would deliver supplies. It was a boring job. When we weren't actually working, we'd spend time fishing off the side of the boat. We'd drop 100-foot line with like 20 different hooks on it. We were fishing for snapper. And on one particular lucky day, we reeled in hundreds of snappers. We just dropped the line over, wait 10 minutes, pull it up, and there'd be 20 snappers on it. Well, this day was just like we just hit this incredible amount of fish. As we packed them in with what little ice we had on board, I listened to the other crew members who were talking about, I'll have enough fish to eat for weeks. And they were going to take all this fish home and eat it. Well, for some crazy reason, I I saw value. I'm like, my gosh, we have so many fish. There's no way we can eat all this. They're just going to give it away. For some crazy reason, I offered to buy up everyone's fish with the idea that I would go home and sell the fish on my way home. At that time, I had never really sold anything and didn't know anything about fish sales for absolute sure. Hell, I had just caught my first fish. I didn't even know to whom I'd sell these fish to. All I knew was that my gut instinct, my knowingness, was telling me that someone would want to buy those beautiful red, fresh red snapper. Hey, we wanted them. We were excited about them. Certainly other people would be. Well, with hundreds of snappers piled into the back of my truck, I realized I needed to create a market, find customers, and figure out how to convince them to buy my fish. I had to think fast because, man, look, the ice was melting. I didn't have any, extra money for ice. So I had to think fast because the ice on the fish was melting, and I wasn't going to lose my paycheck and my inventory if I didn't move the product right away. As I thought about where I might find these customers, I remembered how the Bible salesman used to come knocking on the door of our home and how committed that guy was. I mean, those guys, they, cold call, pitch their book, don't leave until they get a sale. And I was like, wow, I need to go door to door. It was getting late, and I decided I'm going to have to use the door-to-door approach. And even though I didn't like the idea of the door-to-door approach, look, if it was good enough to sell Bibles, it had to be good enough for me because I didn't have any other choices. Commitment. I'm out of choices. See, as the ice continued to melt, it forced me into more of a commitment, urgency. I started to blast through neighborhood after neighborhood, announcing, I have fresh fish just caught in the Gulf of Mexico. Knocking on doors, I rapidly explained that these fish had been caught in the Gulf that morning, and it was the best money could buy. I'm making big claims. I'm learning how to sell, and I don't even know it. After I covered the houses in the area, I started going to businesses and found out the businesses, there was more people in them. And I found more prospects, and I sold the rest of my fish. And I did it before the last ice was gone. See, that day, in 4 hours, I learned the value of commitment. I had a fanatical, have to get it done, no other options, blow myself up level of commitment. And I'm going to tell you something, commitment equaled immediate results, and immediate results, because of my production, equaled happiness, because I was a happy guy that day. I'd made more money selling fish in 4 hours than I'd made doing hard labor work for 2 weeks. And it all came after I made the commitment to sell the fish. Actually, I didn't ever make the commitment to sell the fish. I was forced into commitment to sell the fish or lose the money. I'd put myself in a position where I didn't have choice, but I had to sell them or lose them. It was do or die. After that experience, I was, pardon the pun, hooked on sales forever. But I still wouldn't become a professional for 7 more years. So the first thing you have to do in any career is commit yourself to selling as something that is vital to that career and to your life, regardless of what your post or career actually is. Especially if you're in sales, commit all the way, all in. Commit like a fanatic. Commit right now and watch what happens. Commitment is like magic. In fact, you know what? It is magic. And nothing great ever happens until there is commitment. Most people don't attack their projects with, I have to get it done kind of urgency, and therefore never get it done. What was out was commitment. Most people never commit like fanatics because they don't want to be called fanatics because they think something's wrong with being a fanatic and then become average mediocre. Look, you want to get fantastic life? Become a fanatic about your life. You want to become fantastic with income? Then become a fanatic about your income. You want to become a fantastic entrepreneur? Then become a fanatic about being an entrepreneur. Commit. And the first thing you will get is the power of prediction. The moment I transitioned from an amateur to a professional, that's following my decision to commit and become dedicated to that career, I began studying the entire area of selling, okay? Now I'm a professional salesperson. I'm an amateur salesperson. I'm 25 years old and I'm starting to study the whole field. This is about 7 years after the fishing. And I'm starting to dedicate myself. I'm studying, I'm listening to tapes, I'm watching video, I'm doing everything to consume everything about this topic. I submerge myself with data. I began studying the whole area of selling. I start taking notes on every exchange I have. I'm recording customers. I'm videoing customers without permission, by the way. I'm recording all these experiences on audio and video so I can later go back and study them. I'd study them like a football team reviewed playbacks of games. I didn't know it then, but I had gained an ability that most salespeople never get from committing to learning everything. And that ability is called the ability to predict. See, to predict is to know what's going to happen next. I stumbled across this skill and found myself gaining the ability to accurately predict the outcome of future situations. They haven't happened yet. And I started to know exactly what I had to do every day to create, a certain amount of income. That was one prediction. Oh, wow, I'm going to have to see this many people to get these results. I was gaining the ability to predict what people would say to me. I was gaining the ability to predict exactly how many people I'd have to see and what they would say to me and what I would say back to them. I was able to predict objections before they happened. I was able then to handle them as they surface because I could see it coming. It was as if things had gone into some kind of slow motion. Like I knew what every player, the customers, the managers, the people around me, the inventory, the environment. It's like I was able to predict the field around me and what it would do. The moments to come, what would happen. The ability to predict is the first thing that happens when you become professional in your field. I had reached this level of ability and I knew it. At that moment, I had become a professional. I believe the ability to predict is the first indicator of you crossing a line from the amateur to the professional. Prediction is the great unknown and unrecognized asset of the professional. I've never heard this spoken about before in any of the CDs or programs or seminars that I've been to, but I know this ability to predict exists. If you've read about any of the great athletes, they talk about the same phenomenon happening whereby they're able to know everything that's going to happen before it even happens. Wayne Gretzky and Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, all these guys have been quoted as having the experience of being able to predict where the play would move to and how that play would turn out and where to position themselves to make their score. Years ago, I was selling a product to multimillionaires and discovered the ability to predict. I discovered quickly that I had a very short period of time with these people. Money wasn't the problem with them. Time was the problem. And I discovered that because I had a very short time in which to make my presentation, and that time was such a great concern to these people, I had to handle it. In fact, time again was more valuable than money. I had this one prospect I was working with, and I knew exactly what his objection would be when I got him on the phone. It was like I could predict it. Money's not his problem, Grant. Time is his problem. I heard this in my head, right? And he says to me, son, I'll give you 60 seconds. Having predicted correctly, I handled him without having to think about what I would say or do. See, because I could predict the next move, I could respond with credibility. Because I had studied so many other similar situations and prospects like him and had formulated and prepared solutions, I was able to be responsible for the communication, for the exchange, and get results with him. This prospect, who started out difficult, became one of the best clients I've ever had and would later actually be responsible for launching my career in sales training. What career pick a career that hadn't had time or shortage of time imposed on it for that talent, that individual, to sell their products, to sell their ideas, to sell their dreams. None. All people have had time imposed on them to stop them from getting what they wanted. So, how does one gain this skill of prediction? How do you get it? Well, first, you have to start looking at everything that's happening. You have to observe accurately, without emotion or blame, and make note of it. This is what I did. The ability to predict comes from assuming responsibility for what's going on around you and believing you can control it. Okay, I'm going to say that again. The ability to